with it.
Yeah, right? Ugh.
Hey. So, after a surprisingly restful sleep in the boarding room with a bunch of other Minotaur, it's time to kill a giant. Or do things before then. I wasn't really listening while you were planning and scheming. I don't know if you want to do anything else in the morning.
We were gonna approach and try to get a lay of the land so that we could formulate a better plan.
Head down south, leaving Balcutter. The first thing you notice when you leave is the sea mist. There is a light snowfall. It's actually worse because of the way air travels near the sea. The snowfall is... There's not a lot of snow, but it's all like getting thrown up into your face and stuff, right? As you travel towards the area where the giants went to lurk, south of Balcutter, you go across the walkways and those little islandlets, because Balcutter sits on the north of the river. Don't know if I said that. And start moving along the coast. Mothersworn is a very mountainous area, so this really is like jagged cliff sides on the edge of mountains with these walkways of the beach that are this slate and sea glass. Sometimes it's a more permanent rock, sometimes it's less so. It's quite treacherous territory, but you can go at it at your own pace. If you had to run through this area, like away from a giant, it could be very dangerous, especially if you fell into the churning sea below. And usually these walkways are just high enough with the sea mists that you can't see the water below, which is incredibly unsettling. The edges of your vision are just whited out by the snow and sea mist.
Oh dear.
Balara, why don't you give me a survival roll to track the beast? That's good.
Baldy.
As you travel carefully close to the coast, occasionally you'll see jutting out of the mist, like the bones of long-dead sea leviathans, the wreckages of ships. Stripped away of a lot of their wood and anything else of value, some of them worn by time, coated in, sea life and sea flora. But you only ever see just a little bit of them in the mists. It's particularly ghosty. As you're traveling, Balari, actually, it's the smell of this creature that you first notice. There's a smell of blood. It's something that you would know as a hunter of a messy carnivore. A creature that doesn't wash itself properly. You can smell the blood of either where this creature eats or the creature itself. This is probably where the creature eats. And you start to approach it, and you can see an area, a larger section of the cliffside with a wooden jetty that stretches out, quite similar to Balcutter's. That is worn and wrecked like a lot of the ships around, but the right light, if you were coming from the side, it would look like an irregular dock, especially with torches that are lit in the sea mist. You see no sign of the giant at first, but you do see cages made of the ship's wood, hammered together, tied together. Quite large. Some of them have the bodies of creatures. Actually, it seems that the last thing this giant caught was a few harpies. You can see their kind of half-eaten bodies. One of them was clearly dumped back into the cage that opens up from the top after a big bite has just been taken out of the side. Even plucked their feathers. What's the plan?
We could make it fall.
This area is like, it has areas of the coast of the beach on it. it's not all that high up. You would do better if you wanted to do your scheming plans, knocking something on it from above. You'd have to find a route up there or climb up, but that would probably be better because it is in kind of a cave-like divot, right? Because it's protected from the weather slightly. He's definitely like carved out a chunk of this rock, you know.
Mm-hmm. I say we make a tripwire. And put a stone at the top. I will lure him over the tripwire. He will fall down. You will push a rock over him.
It's not a bad plan, but doing all of that without it noticing us.
A wire strong enough to stop the footfall of a giant. 2 rods large enough, strong enough, and deep enough into the ground to stop the wire becoming loose. Perfect, precise locations for both the tripwire and the stone.
What if we were to use... there might be a cage that's appropriately positioned. We may be able to find some wreckage on the other side.
There's cage, there's also like big jagged rocks and boulders. So if you saw this place from the sea, it would almost look like a mouth, you know.
What about...
Definitely.
Do we have a chain?
I have rope.
They're loud.
We have rope. How much rope?
50 feet.
100 feet.
If we braided the rope, it might have enough strength then to restrain the foot enough to send him tilting over. If it snaps afterwards, that doesn't matter. As long as it sends the thing teetering, then that's good enough, right?
Can always get or make more rope.
Because you wouldn't have actually walked down through this area yet. You'd be like at a perch looking through it. There are a couple of places... There are really 2 good places that you would think to put a tripline. This kind of Bell's survival paying off. There's right where that jetty is, like the between the rocks there, and kind of from where this cave is to you. You know, you could set it up there as well. Both would be good. Obviously, if you go and set it up by the jetty, that's, you know, you're out in the open. You could get seen. But braiding the rope together.
Would we be able to push a? Would we be able to push a rock down to either of those places?
Yeah, if you got someone up there. It's
we'd
hard to
need a
see
rock
what's up there,
as
but
well.
you know
That's
this is a rickety mountain. You know, there's definitely a chance of throwing something down on it. The downside is that there doesn't seem to be an easy path to walk up there, and if there is, it would be a very long detour. Someone would have to climb up there, and with the sea mist, it'll be dangerous. But you totally could.
Where's Vale when you need him?
Yeah, Vale, when I'm like, this is very difficult, buildings covered in water, and just Vale's like, fuck you.
he's like a spider elf.
Yeah, weird, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? What? How counterintuitive.
What the twist?
I enjoyed that. As a
So
little...
do you want to have someone climb up? Do you want to try and set the trip wire first?
So we should all sit down and braid our rope, as you do.
Yeah.
And then I think we should get the tripwire set first, I guess, because there's no point doing the other part if the tripwire's not in place.
We need the rock to be set first before setting the tripwire, because if he accidentally trips on the tripwire before we're ready, then that part of the plan is just...
But if we don't have the tripwire set and he
manpower.
hears and he comes out, at least we get the benefit of him tripping.
Both of you are correct.
That's a good point.
Yeah, both of us are correct.
This is a good one. This is
It's
a
like
good trolley problem.
Can I abuse precognition some way in this circumstance? The problem is because it all depends on dice rolls, so I can't. I ask, is he
Yeah.
going to hear? And I'll just
This is yeah. You have no idea if you're gonna try and climb up and just fucking face plant. You know, you have no
exactly,
clue.
yeah. I carry on trying to come up with ways to use precognition. It's like, damn it, it's all dependent on the dice rolls.
Yeah, I don't know on this one. Someone else needs to make a
You
decision.
also could have 2 teams both doing both.
My worry is then that it increases the risk of detection by
Yeah, I
100%.
should be the only person that
Yes.
sets that tripwire. But you guys could be pushing a rock while I set the tripwire. That's a non-issue. We can do that. And then
We need
I
to
might-
climb up there to see a rock, though. We
Yeah,
can't
it's you
get a
don't
rock
have the
to it.
visibility to see all the way up there.
We need to climb there. It's like not. There's no like way to push a rock to the top. We're presuming there's some form of projectile.
If there is, that would be a long detour back. The way to get up there right now would be climbing the coastal side, which is not. It's not like a sheer whatever. The danger is that it's wet. If it
My
was a
other
dry day, it'd be easy.
One more concern to add to the pile. The only people who are likely going to be strong enough to push a boulder that's going to do any significant damage to a giant are going to be Richter and Toran.
Mhm.
If the boulder doesn't kill the giant in one go, or if we miss or something goes wrong, that's taking either our main fighter or our healer out of a potential combat.
If only we had a pulley. Whoever went to the top could set up a pulley which would allow them to exert double or triple the force, depending on the type of pulley, to push the rock. And then they could also use the pulley to allow them to slide down the rope and make their way down.
This plan is a lot of ifs and not whens, and I don't like it.
Well, welcome to the business of the adventuring, Dave.
I can fully get him to trip, or at least go to the tripwire. I can fully do that.
The trip's fine. I don't like the climbing. Maybe the boulder.
Oh
Let's try
yeah,
and
I
push it.
agree. I agree, and I think Ian raises a valid point of whoever's up there wouldn't be able to get down. And actually, maybe we just want them to fall over and shove things in his throat. And
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, I mean, we
Like-
could if we do this closer to us rather than the jetty, we're not out in the open. We could try and dig a pit for him to fall into with spikes in the bottom for him to fall onto.
Well,
I
we
love
don't.
it. I
We don't
love
need
that.
we don't need a spike pit. What we
Or
need
just
is a
spikes.
tripwire and a single spike held by Richter and Torrent.
That
And if he falls onto it and impales, it's going to be the quietest plan we can come up with the most reasonable amount of success with the least drawbacks should it fail.
That's a really good plan, except for he's gonna see you holding a spike there and not chase me.
There
Right, yeah,
is
but he's-
a groaning noise from the water.
Ooh,
hide. Everyone hide.
Sound of water moving.
he's
Not
coming out
necessarily
of the water.
coming closer, but sound of a large, some could say giant creature.
Yeah, let's all hunker down. I get what you mean, that he'll see us, but it doesn't matter if he sees us, because he'll go, "Oi, what are you doing with that spot?" and then trip.
Everybody hide for now.
Stealth
Yeah.
rolls! Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da ba. Gonna oof on that one.
Yeah.
So, from the sea mists, you see this creature pull itself out of the water. It seemed like it was under the water. And seeing it, it's not a surprise. This
Seeing it, yeah.
broad-faced, kind of hunched giant pulling out. It has like seaweed and barnacles on its skin. A sort of armor made of flotsam and ship parts, only in a couple of places, mostly around the legs, where most of its enemies would be. But otherwise, a sort of ruddy, pale skin tone. It pulls itself out of the water dripping down its big hair and beard. Pulls itself onto the jetty that creaks under its weight, and it lumbers every step, making water slosh from its clothes. It scratches itself as it moves up. Its fur and hair is kind of sort of brownish, but there are green splotches and patches in it. And it looks around. Knowing that something's here, but not seeing it. Standing in the middle of its camp. It pulls a weapon. It's large, probably made from the mast of a ship with almost an axe head of molten together scrap metal. It just kind of like continues looking around on high alert.
Well, what now?
We wait. We wait for him to go into his cave.
He's in his cave.
I thought he was up on wreckage.
Nope. He was under the water, pulled himself onto the jetty, and into his area with the cages and stuff.
Oh.
Call it a cave is a bit of a overstatement.
Okay. I go set a tripwire.
You would have to get right under his nose to. You wouldn't be able to do one over the jetty. You could totally do it if you had if you nail your stealth rolls, and it did roll really badly on perception. Just saying, high danger.
He really looks like he's watching.
Must have been the wind. No, not but
Oh my god.
couldn't resist.
I want him to have a high-pitched squeaky voice really bad.
Like in my image of him, it does kind of make sense as well, but I won't.
That's my wreckage.
Oi, fuck off! Get fucked!
It's like
Smashes
someone to. Oh my god.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
it's canon now.
No, it's
let's
not.
make a pike and hope he falls asleep. Or drops his guard at the very least. We need not
Sure.
waste time.
If you say so.
If you three back up a little so that noise will not travel, I will watch him.
I guess we'll go chop down a branch or a tree, perhaps a sapling, or perhaps something in between.
Let's.
Okay. You guys go a healthy, sensible distance away, and Amaryllis sits and watches.
Like a tree.
Like a tree.
It's like, that tree's new. I'm
The
gonna eat it.
coastal giant stays there on watch for quite some time. Eventually, it seems to grow somewhat bored of this and opens the hatch on the top of one of the cages and pulls out the half-eaten harpy. Kind of like pops the head off of the thing
Oh,
and starts eating the rest of it, bones and all.
that's what I call a white claw.
Crunch and blood dripping into the beard, which makes the beard a little redder than the rest of the hair.
It's the famous giant pirate Redbeard.
Yeah. Yarp. Which Amaryllis, he's distracted eating. The moment those guys could set something up. You were just planning on making a nice, sharp, jabbable, yes?
Well, perhaps the sort of thing that wouldn't snap, and rather he'd have to impale himself on it or I guess we could
In which case, one of you give me a carpentry roll. Unfortunately, the carpenter isn't with you.
Well, Bell needs to carpenter because Bell's done the most carpenting recently.
Intelligence roll, then.
Intelligence roll?
Crafting is usually intelligence.
Hey, Lamel.
Okay. About what I expected.
Oh no, it's wood.
Make a nice sharpened wooden stick. The wood that you find in this kind of area is not, it's mostly...
It's just like driftwood.
Yeah, you couldn't find a living tree that you felt comfortable cutting down.
Oh yeah, we thrust like a corrupted tree branch into his heart and it becomes a corrupted giant. Great.
I would slowly make my way to tell him that he's distracted. I would.
As they're coming back with their sharpened stick. Yeah, he's distracted. He's eaten one harpy and is looking around for something else to eat while picking his teeth with a bone.
Well, I guess it's at this point that we say a prayer and try not to die.
I'll make haste.
Okay, stealth roll, Bell.
Ooh, that was almost a 1. Oh my god.
Roller coaster of emotions there.
You move quietly, quickly. Belle is not a slow sneaker. She's a burst of speed, small space sneaker. And the giant definitely knows something is here. The way it just kind of pauses completely when you get behind the rock for one side of the tripwire sends chills down your spine. But then it goes to continue eating. And you can pull... go to set the other side of this tripwire up. Could you give me a survival roll for that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not great, but the tripwire is set up.
I guess we march.
All give me, in a moment, the correct moment, some rolls that rhyme with initiative.
I'd have really just like stuck to my guns there and just said, initiative.
Yeah, I was gonna, but initiative does rhyme with initiative.
I mean, you're not wrong.
If you want to know what I look like without this cap on, look at that giant's.
I can't believe. Yeah, I'm really offended by the fact that you didn't show us after like you were like, oh, if Ian rolls a 90-20 and
I will take off my hat.
Yeah, and then he doesn't ever roll 90-20s. It was like that's like being like.
I've been trying to tell you for years. Dean Cuddy is a snake.
Yeah, if he takes off the hat, he's actually just got a snake tattoo all over his head.
Oh, please roll.
Lord Voldemort's there.
Voldemort's on the back.
Yeah.
Give me the stone.
Oh fuck.
I love inside jokes. I'd love to be part of one day.
It's Harry Potter.
Yeah,
you
Harry
can't
Potter.
blame us. You've chosen to abstain, and we can
You
respect.
have, yeah. It's my political beliefs.
Told you there'd be more natty 20s on the way in.
There's so many nat 20s this session.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is nutty.
Pity that one doesn't really help at all.
That's good then.
Oh,
So
look
while
at these
your
logs.
survival did
He's been around here a lot.
What?
While your survival did alert him, you do have the benefit of speed. It's a giant. It slowly starts to turn towards you, plucking up its sharpened, metal-adorned club from its side.
Is the tripwire here?
Tripwire is here, right beside you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it was. That's why you needed a good stealth roll, because you were literally getting like under him nearly.
I would silently beckon to the boys to come with their spear. Like, and hold an action to run if he starts coming near me.
Oh, he's gonna come towards you. There's no doubt.
He knows.
He's looking at you, getting his weapon.
So the tripwire, is it here in effect?
Yes, exactly.
Cool. You mind if I leave that
I will allow it.
for mind purposes?
I will allow it.
My mind map.
My man.
You get it? 'Cause it's on a map. Right. We've got our big trunky stick between us, right?
Yeah, we've merged our.
Oh
wings.
yeah, it's a two-man stick.
But I'm worried about waiting because bitch boy's so slow.
Excuse me.
Torrin's gonna begin the trundle. He's gonna strongman it.
If you guys want to move together with the stick, line yourselves up and go at half speed.
Can we move at half speed on my?
Yeah, if you want to go bap 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 with your turn, I'll allow
Cool.
that.
Yeah.
Can
Can we push to get any faster? Or is that
Well,
unreasonable?
on his turn, he's also going to move.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Nice.
I think that works.
Also,
Yeah,
can't they,
definitely.
since they're not
That's fair.
taking actions, move twice?
Yes, if you wanted to dash. Yeah. Absolutely, you are correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you see it start coming, and you start running down, holding this
Okay.
large sharp stick. Yeah, like a siege unit. Heading down towards it. That's when you're already towards this thing, and you see the giant's face just kind of crumple up together in a way that like a humans don't quite. Compared to maybe like pictures of giants you would have seen in like Lighthouse
He's
sketches
got like
and things.
just a big enemy.
This giant, is more human-looking than most of the giants of Jarviskjir, but when it does that, and its jaw, like, kind of clicks downwards,
Ooh.
these big, broad teeth, it is monstrous. And it is going to...
Drop a log.
start
It's already
going with
done
great
several.
speed and trip. His leg is going to get caught on the braided rope. It hits one of the metal studs on the shipwreck armor around its legs, and it tugs and pulls, and there's a as it collapses prone here. Like it flies through the air for a bit, and its body hits. You can see the fat of its body jiggle in a wave. There's almost a wave of air that's unleashed from the thing falling. And, so note, such a heavy motion like that, Belle, the slate shore you're on definitely becomes unstable. You got time.
Okay. I held my action to move if he started moving towards me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I would have been out of there by the time he fell.
Then
So I would
do
have
it.
been-
I did kind of encourage you not to do that because he was clearly running towards you, but yeah, sure. Go ahead. Alrighty. That's him. He Feldened. Amaryllis.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Standard
Once
tactics.
Amaryllis caught a fish alive.
Bless the other 3.
Wah, bless.
And yeah, ends my turn. Hopefully it'll just die and we won't need that bless, baby. I don't know.
Richter, this giant is like down on the ground. You can see like the crown of its head as it's trying to push and pull. You'd either if you get to it with your charge attack, basically with this, you could maybe get it between the eyes or in the top of the head, and I will allow you to run to it and make me a charge attack.
Yeah. What am I rolling for that?
Just give me a attack roll for you.
Okay. So we would have pressed to here then.
Yes. You gotta yell when you're doing it. There's no way you don't, you know?
I mean, yeah, you're charging a giant.
1d20 plus my strength, then, I guess. I'm
Uh-huh.
not proficient in this yet.
It's like a super heavy improvised weapon.
Does this count as an attack for Bless?
Yeah,
I presume
it's
so,
an
yeah.
attack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an attack.
Does this attack count as an attack?
It sounded more intelligent before I said it.
You have advantage.
Oh, of course, because he's prone.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to D&D, bitches!
We don't encounter prone very often.
We're also
How do you-
rusty. Just roll it
That's
again. That very slight increase in your roll is enough to do a hit. Now, an improvised weapon does a D4. A larger improvised weapon does a D6. A larger improvised weapon does a D8. So this is only going to do a D10. You didn't really make anything more than a extra big improvised weapon. It's a D10 plus strength. And I'll give it both of your strengths. I mean, you're both charging. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, fair.
Is yours a 2?
I've got a +2, yeah.
Is yours a 5? Support priest. It doesn't pierce as you would have liked. The wood kind of splits and splinters as you get up to it. A mixture of it not being a very well-made spike, and also a giant's got a really thick skull. With their extra big heads. So it kind of like crumples, but you can see it like splinter into the flesh and bruise it. It's definitely a very damaging attack on the creature, and it can't do anything to defend itself.
Okay. I will remain there.
You don't really have a choice. Bell. That's a hit. You don't
Bring
actually
it
get advantage
Yeah,
on
you
prone targets with ranged, but it's a
I
really
think-
big guy, so I'll allow it in this context.
Oh, fair, yeah.
All right.
Technically, prone from range gives disadvantage, I think.
I'm allowing this
Yeah.
one shot because I can't be asked. But yes,
Fair enough.
you are correct.
Yeah.
It never comes up, so that's not on you for not knowing that. Nice thing about having a target down like that, especially with its head and neck towards you, is that you can just kind of get the right angle, take a nice bow shot, and while it doesn't, you know, pierce through it and do this big dramatic thing, you just know how to lodge a small arrow in a big target to cause a lot of pain and like difficulty breathing as you lodge it into the kind of neck and collar area. You hear the thing like wheeze as it's trying to pull itself up. Richter and Torin, the smell of rotten teeth and blood is intense as it starts like panting and almost like this breathing, breathy chant as it's trying to push itself back up, you know, trying to like hype itself up. Torin, the wood in your hands is all but nothing. You would have to equip your shield because you wouldn't have been able to shield and charge.
Which is an action.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I'm not doing that then.
Should have bought that buckler.
Bucklers suck. I ain't English. Buckler and sword. Torin will place his hand on the back of Richter and whisper a prayer. You feel a gust of wind from behind, and you feel strength surge through you.
You got
Yeah, I got there in the end.
That's why he whispers.
As you have full strength, so you have advantage on strength checks. And then he continues to pray. And you feel Irik's wind settle around you. Just for a moment, just a breath.
rejecting away the foul smell of the coast giant.
You've got this, Richter. I've got your back. He's like, one of his hands sort of on your back, and the other hand he's toting the mace.
Wiggling the mace.
I'll eat your back first, then! The giant says as it pushes itself up with the axe. And is going to swing at our boy Richter. First, he must make a wisdom saving throw.
Be wise, boy.
And it fails. It like goes to, and it stops. And the extra attentive of you might see the big furry arms of the amount of matted and heavy arm hair bristling as if there's wind holding it back. But it's not. It doesn't look like he's pushing against wind, but you can just kind of see that slight difficulty, and it's like. And it kind of kicks and shifts at the sands here, which make it fall in even slightly more. And when it notices that, it grins. And it just stomps heavily. And can Richter and Torin, can you both make me strength saves?
Do I get advantage on these saves?
Is there a reason why you would?
It's strength checks. I don't know whether saving throws comes under all checks.
I think they're
not.
different, technically.
Yeah,
Saves
I
are different than
think they are as
checks, yeah.
Because the Barbarian Rage explicitly says saving throws and checks, so...
Yeah.
The slate. Have you ever been to a slaty beach? It takes one movement to make it all slide and move. This giant is so big, like one of its legs is up on the rock and the other it just gets in the water. It doesn't care. Richter, you managed to hold yourself in position. Sure, the water is like rushing in, it's going to be difficult terrain, but you aren't rushed out. Torin is. It's the water, you know. Out into the water. And the water here, Torin, the coast, is jagged and full of sharpened rocks.
Oh no.
Crashing and moving. Make it even worse. Sea mists. If you get knocked too much further away, you won't be able to see the shore. Amaryllis.
Okay.
Who's on babysitting Torin duty?
I'm trying to work out if I've got anything I can do with here. Are these rocks difficult terrain? Or
No, the water is.
okay.
It's one of those things difficult terrain to like
4.
thrash and move and grab and pull. It's not quite swimming, you know. It's a little bit of both.
Okay, I am going to go out to here to keep an eye on Torin. I don't really have anything I can specifically do to help him at the moment, but
You're on your own, but I'll see you drown.
well, no, my thought is that if he starts getting further out, then I can at least destroy the fog so he can see the shore. That's something I can do. So, and well, I mean, I might as well not waste my turn. I will fire an arrow at the giant. Yeah, no.
That's a miss. Richter, the water's like rushing in and the slate is moving around you, but you manage to steady your stealth, but lose Torin in the process.
I've got you back.
But you did
Is
see
this
his
stand honourable?
Oh yes, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I'll
If it's not
shift
stand
on
honorable,
from
I'd
here.
usually do something. I don't know. Jeez.
And I will make a menacing attack with a superiority dice. So this chap needs to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Is that when you make the attack, or is that when you deal damage?
When I hit.
Most
I'll
of
call
yours
out
will be
if I
when they
hit.
hit, so... You can declare when you hit if it's a menacing attack, right? So
That way you don't have to waste no superiority dice.
That's a hit.
And it is a 1d8, isn't it? 1d8.
You could be using it two-handed. You don't have a shield right now because you charged in.
I don't have a shield right now.
Couldn't have charged with the shield on.
Okay, then it would be two-handed.
Yeah. So D10.
1d8 for spears two-handed.
Is it?
Do you not have spear mastery?
No, I
Nope.
just don't know.
1d.
No, I don't want to think about how many hours I played in D&D, but I don't know how much a spear does. You know.
I mean, a
Hey,
spear
you know.
isn't that commonly used a weapon, to be fair.
Excuse me? With spear mastery, it's amazing.
Oh my god, I got an 8 on that 1d8 as well. No, I didn't.
What did you get?
I didn't
Give me
roll
the
it
number.
yet.
You didn't roll it. You didn't type /roll, did you? Just type /1d8. It's a classic move I do. I'm like, why have you not?
It got worse.
That's depressing.
And this, I need to do my superiority dice as well.
Why is it +5?
Because of actually, yeah, dueling doesn't your +2 damage doesn't activate.
So many
on
different
two-handed.
numbers. Yeah, so many different fucking numbers.
Because we worked out that it actually makes more sense for you to do one-handed.
Because you gain a questionable 2 and
Yes.
lose a certain 2.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So it's actually
Roll
better to one hand.
1d8 plus 3. And we'll keep the 1d8, so that's 9 damage.
Do you want to do a menacing attack?
Yes.
What does it do? Please click it and put it in chat. Wisdom save. What's your DC?
DC is 11.
Taking 11. Taking once.
I feel like
Twice.
it's 8 plus proficiency plus constitution. It's either constitution or strength. One of the two.
That's 13.
8 plus your proficiency
13
bonus plus
is
your strength.
a
or
failure.
dex.
You manage to, even though it's not a very devastating attack, you're attacking upwards at a giant. You manage to nick some sensitive spots while not showing any fear, and the giant kind of staggers back, also staggering back from the, slate fall it caused. It is random. Bell. It's a hit. That's really good damage.
That is really good damage.
As it really, when it was getting up, it had a bit more of a defensive posture. It's clear that this giant fights humanoids with bows. It knows it knows how to cover itself, with its weapon. But in that moment of fear in Richter, you manage to just get good arrows to the weaker spots of it, and it staggers back even more.
Oh, me bum.
Don't shoot it in the bum. It's not turned around yet. Speaking of, Torin, please give me a strength save to fight the current. If you do really well, you'll pull yourself back. If you do poorly, you are potentially yeeted into the distance, but you roll evenly, with Bless managing to just hold your place, which is good enough, because the rushing in of water was only slight, only lasted for a bit of time. In this time, the water's still choppy, and if you were distracted, if you couldn't swim properly, you would be pulled out to sea. But now that's not going to be an issue. You don't have to make saves or anything. You secure yourself in that time. Giant is frightened, so it is going to run. as it does, it will like just reach down and yank at the braided rope, and so it doesn't trip over it again. But it's gonna run.
Oh, and it tears off this end of the rope, and the braided rope flies over and lands next to Torrin, and it goes, "Wind's on my side."
Victor, if you want to take an opportunity attack against someone moving away, you could do so.
Don't you have some sentinel feet?
I thought, didn't the frighten fail?
No, it
No.
You
Pass.
frightened it. I've been describing it being very frightened of you and running away.
Oh,
Either way, it moved away from you, so you get an opportunity attack anyway.
yeah, which means I get to roll a 1d8 plus 3.
Well, no, you need to attack.
You need to
first.
attack it.
Yeah, I'm setting it up as a copy paste.
Oh right, okay.
D20 plus 5.
I mean, this would just be a spear attack. You don't need to have macros for this kind of thing. That'd be a miss.
I don't.
You've
have,
got a bless.
I don't have two-handed in my attacks.
Oh, well,
But
could
you
use
may as well
one-handed,
do one-handed,
if it's better for you.
because you get the dueling
I
thing.
don't have the shield. We just established that.
But you can
still
use
use
a
a
spear
spear
in
in one
one
hand.
hand without a shield. If it's going to deal more damage.
Been confusing me this whole time. Then okay.
Well, I thought Neil explained that pretty well earlier, but that's okay.
No, there was a lot.
At this point, you've already failed the roll. Doesn't matter. Which is good. It means it gets away. Because otherwise it wouldn't, because of Sentinel. This means I can do stuff. I mean, it's still frightened. How long is it frightened for?
Till the
end of your
end.
next turn. So it's still frightened. So as it runs, it stops and turns back. It kind of skids. Still, it's a wet creature. It kind of skids on the rock, and it grips and plucks and yanks one of the boulders, and just twists its whole body and turns and spins it. And Belari, what's your armor class?
14.
13?
14.
14.
Big difference.
It is, because a 13 would have been a hit. A 14 is just enough for you to have rolled into cover as the boulder... Like, this isn't even like a boulder explodes against the rocks. The boulder just hits the rocks and falls down into the water. You know, these are such solid coastal rocks. Amaryllis. Torin has sort of stabilized himself.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Gonna stay here just in case he needs a hand getting back up. But what's the range on that actually? 55 feet. And what is a short bow range? I think it's 80 feet.
You should be good.
Yeah, 80 feet. Let's take a shot.
And this guy is injured. You know, he's running. There's blood pouring down his chest.
Never mind.
But that doesn't make him bleed anymore in any way. Victor. Giant's run and he's starting to throw boulders.
Can you dash and then action surge?
Yeah.
There's no reason why not.
I'll do that. Spear one-handed. Going in. Missing. Bless.
God bless.
Roll 1d4. Failure. End
We
of
should
turn.
make a command for that so that you'll never forget. Yeah, that's a miss. You get up and it just
wasn't-
manages to sort of throw the armor on its legs in the way. It seems like it's planned for exactly this kind of situation. And it isn't a successful attack. Anything else?
That'll do.
Bell. That's a hit. It's up. It's like upper body is naked. You know, it's when it's distracted and scared, it isn't covering itself, which means arrows land easily while it is distracted by Richter. Torrent.
I can move now.
Yes. Half speed, but yeah.
1, 2, 3.
And then you can walk around like a real boy.
Um,
Dashed.
no, I didn't dash.
If you wanted to dash.
Oh right. Toron will point his mace at the foul beast, place his hand on his chest, and the faint amethyst light will glow from under his glove. And the creature will begin to be engulfed in flame.
It's gonna take that damage.
This
That
me
is
10.
Gonna attack. It is no longer frightened. It turns with resolve. It swings at Richter. But that first attack, without a shield, without anything, you manage to spear in both hands, block the sort of great axe weapon that the giant has.
I'll use a riposte.
Oh ho!
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
As it opens up its defenses.
That'll do it.
God's sake.
Plus damage. You add a superiority die of damage. So.
Oh, yeah. That's better.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a really devastating strike because you can just make a really easy strike against its distended belly. Just and you pierce it. You feel the spear going into the gut, so when it pulls back, it tears. And some stuff comes out.
A log.
It's been eating trees.
Bleeding poop.
At that, the pain makes the giant roar out, and it is going to make a bite against you. Just kind of go down on all fours and snap like a wolf.
He's still got sanctuary.
Please give me a Constitution save. Yeah, it's fine. You made it.
Well, Sanctuary would have gone when Richter attacked anyway, so...
Oh!
Oh, yeah, of course. That's fair.
Okay, you are going to take 10 piercing damage from its teeth as it grinds. It even snaps you into the mouth, and you fight and push against it to pull yourself away. Amaryllis. The creature is desperate.
Let's just, well, haven't got anything else interesting to do. Let's take a shot. One day I will hit.
Can you imagine if you'd stolen
Richter!
that?
Is Richter going to make the final blow?
Spear one-handed.
No!
That will do.
Even with Bless, you can't make that. Anything else? Is that you?
Actually, I will spend a superiority dice and use evasive footwork to move back a little bit. Hang on. Roll 1d8. Awesome. It's a opportunity attack against 21 armor class.
You don't have a shield. So 18...
18.
19.
19.
It hits exactly a 19 as you start trying to move away. This works a lot easier against targets that can't do a big, upper-handed swing to you. It is going to hit you with its great weapon, dealing 14 bludgeoning damage.
Oof.
I am unconscious.
But not bleeding. Just hit the ground. Hit it hard. You hear the giant make out this noise, clearly of celebration. Maybe it was a word in giant? Hard to tell. Belara.
Okay.
That's it.
It's not enough of one. Hold on a second.
You checking sneak attack?
What?
Are you checking sneak attack?
No. I know that I don't get one.
Good, because I didn't. I don't know how it works. It's a
Can I get across that water okay?
You would have... It would be difficult terrain. So it's half move.
Okay.
It's not like I'm gonna pull you out to sea anymore.
So it takes 10 of my speed.
Yeah, to go for each one, yeah.
That's the end of my turn.
Torin! The giant lords over the felled body of your friend. What are you going to do about it?
Torin's gonna jump into the water, sploosh his way over, and he's going to raise his hand towards Torin as he can't quite wade through enough. And as he does, he gets slower and slower, and the wind begins to pick up more and more. And I'll use Channel Divinity
On Richter.
on Richter.
You called him Torin earlier.
With basically
You
the same
guys just
person.
can't remember your characters' names. It's fine.
We're the same person at this point.
We've been Gillen Vale for like, what, 2 years now? So I can understand.
2
Yeah,
years
we've been-
too much.
We've been inside each other. God, they were amazing. Equal to 5 times your cleric
Seated.
level, 15 hit points sealed.
You know what's an A-tier character? Sid.
I mean, I was going to just
Satire.
mention one of yours, but sure.
What are you doing with Healing Wind?
All of it's going on him.
So that's
15.
15
Hit
points of
points.
healing on
Oof,
Richter.
thank you very much.
Now, the giant doesn't notice that. It just runs over Richter. Richter, you wake up to the giant running over you.
You get a good flash of something.
Oh, yes.
It's
Wait,
muscles.
is this a new 10 order?
No.
Like a new
What?
round?
What? What do you mean? New round
Is this
comparative
like-
to what?
Like, since my last go, is it a new round
Yes,
now?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comparative to my last 10.
Yes.
The obvious.
Your reactions recover on your turn.
Your
Nothing to do
turn,
with
yeah.
rounds.
Okay.
So you could make a reaction of it going over you. You would have disadvantage because you are prone.
It's because the riposte was after his last turn, so and it hasn't come around to Richter's turn again, so he doesn't have a reaction. so
Oh,
he
okay,
can't
never
use
mind.
reaction.
Yeah. You're gonna have to really keep track of reactions because you use them a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know what the rule was. Now I do.
Yeah, they recover on your turn. He's gonna run, and as he's running, he's going to hurl a boulder into the water. Just a... And Bell, it's not so much the boulder hits you. The boulder hits the water so close to you that the water like hits you up against the rocks. And it's going to deal 10 bludgeoning damage. Yeah, it's definitely a winded moment. Amaryllis. Please. In character. You're either Amaryllis or Geralt. Fuck.
Do I want to do something that's actually not just fire an arrow.
You
but
know you won't!
I know I won't because Bless is just better than anything else I can do. Like I'm contemplating casting Hideous Laughter on it, and it's just having Bless up is
The
better.
creature is incredibly injured, though. You know,
It
it's like
is.
one hit away.
You could legitimately snipe it.
Not with Hideous Laughter.
Oh my god, I hit something.
That's a hit. Amaryllis isn't going to be able to do enough damage to kill it.
No.
But it probably doesn't. Like, it doesn't even notice at this point. It's just in its death throes. But, maybe if you all die, it could recover. But it is just charging. It doesn't notice an extra arrow lodged into its belly. Richter, you're down on the ground. It
But you're
charged
not
over
out.
You
Right.
wake up.
So
Cue
I'll
Eye
get
of the Tiger.
up, half movement to get up.
Yep.
Approach it.
No! Gonna get content ID'd.
Don't worry, I don't sing well enough for that.
Yes.
Oh.
Man wants you to think. That is not a kill.
Oh no!
By a very small amount of damage. Anything else?
I'll make it a menacing attack.
Fuck yeah.
How menacing.
1d8's worth.
Is that enough?
That is not a kill!
Oh no!
But it does get to make a wisdom save. And make it. You know what? Good on you, Giant.
Yeah, run away from me towards the rest of the party.
No, it's not scared. It's good.
It's like a mammoth. We're like hunting it like ancient humans.
Speak of ancient humans, Doxy, it's your turn.
Wow.
Wow!
Ollie saw
25,
the
thanks.
opportunity and he took it.
I would have made the same joke
Fucking
about any of
critical
you.
hit. Are any of these rocks high ground?
Not against a giant.
Okay.
It big. You might guess that from its name.
Why did they call it a giant?
I'm good at climbing and I have a bow. It makes
Yeah,
sense for me
that's-
to want to get above it, Neil.
Yeah, that's why earlier it was like, yeah, if you want to climb, it's a whole thing. You're not going to get above it from here. But you might be able to finish it off with a bow shot from anywhere, if it's a hit. Can't really shoot a bow while you're swimming in water, though.
I kind of just want to run as far away as I fucking can right now. That
Go ahead.
I wouldn't survive. Yeah.
Running
Okay, so
away
10,
is always
15.
an option.
20. 30. All right.
Anything else?
Mm-mm.
Was that both of your movements or just one? If you
I
didn't-
had to use both of them because of the rough terrain.
Torin.
Alright. Once again, it's all in Torin's
He
bag,
does kill a lot of enemies.
baby. He does. You think
the-
he's
for the
weak,
cleric.
but he's. Torin's gonna wade his way through the water, sloshing towards his friend, who's currently engaging his spear with the creature's bumhole. He wades through,
Say that.
and he brings the mace down heavily upon the creature's big toe, cracking the nail, hopefully. Mace.
It's a hint.
I honestly kind of wanted that to fail just for the.
No, I'm gonna take the responsibility of describing this one. Torin, you do exactly that. Like, bear in mind, like when you make an attack, it is not just one jab; it's a whole thing. You're trying to get behind it and trying to land these hits, bring it down. Richter. Torin wades, armor completely waterlogs, gets to the shore, pulls himself up just enough, swings down
Yeah, like
on the
edge of the
giant's
pool.
toe. Yeah, exactly. The giant roars out and falls, all of its weight on the spear. It's one of those ones you just kind of hold the spear above you as its guts start spilling. Richter, you're getting splattered with giant guts. I'm not going to say you're covered in them.
You close your mouth at least.
There's a marinade. And that's actually this is a great spot to take a little break as you defeated the coast giant. So, we'll be back in a couple of minutes for the winding up of today's episode.
We're like a monster hunter team.